In this video, we're looking at the May 2024 Raised Garden Bed Tour. We're looking at successes in planting. We're looking at finished shade cloth. I've got some more to show you and some information on protecting the potatoes. So, welcome to Bowtie Life, where we talk mostly about life in the garden. I'm Bowtie David. We live in Destin, Florida, Zone 9B. Now, coming up in the future will be more experiments, more tasks, progress on various parts of the garden, and even more harvest. Believe it or not, this is May, and we are harvesting. We're at the peak of harvest for our gardens. So be sure to subscribe to Bowtie Life on YouTube if you have not already, so you don't miss a thing. Subscribing doesn't cost a thing, so just click that subscribe button because videos come out here on YouTube first. For those of you who have subscribed, you're my heroes. You've helped make Bowtie Life what it is today, and I thank you. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So today we are in a rainy day. In fact, we've already had 5 inches of rain this morning. Now, I've told you before, the first 3 months of this year here in Florida have been dry. In fact, we had 1 day of rain in February, 1 day of rain in March. That was it. The Bay has a tendency to keep our weather different than literally just a few miles away over on the other side of the bay. But here in May now, we've had 4 days of heavy rain already. It has rained between 16 and 18 inches. Now that's between 40 and 46 centimeters. That's a lot of rain for 1 month, and it's happened in the past 17 days, counting this morning. Now, our airport weather station is the Destin Executive Airport, and not sure what's going on. I know we had, on the 10th, we had a rain, and on the 11th, we had a rain, I think it was. Whatever the rain was on their record, the day before was about the same. And so I don't know why they are not recording some of the rains that we've been getting, but we have had. In fact, that heavier day was the day I created that video. We were getting rain at a rate of over 8 inches an hour. We got it for a little over 20 minutes, and we got about 3 3/4 inches of rain. One of my friends, Jim, told me that it was 3.86 at his house, about 2 miles to the east of here. So it changes, as we all know. Our normal for the month of May is 4 1/4 inches. So we have already blown that away. We've tripled that, yeah. So we're gonna look around the garden here in this tour. You'll notice over on the far edge of the screen over here, we have a whole bunch of buckets of water. The 2 buckets of water in the front, in fact, you can see here in this video, these 2 water buckets I stuck out while it was the heaviest rain. They filled in about 3 minutes. 3 minutes later, this video was taken after I put them out there. So that was a lot of rain falling. And then these here, you can see here the finished product. After I put them out, it was about 15 minutes, but they had been, I don't know how long they've been full. The rain had subsided a bit, but I don't know at what rate. I know those front 2, whew, that was a lot of rain. Anyway, we got the ginger is growing. We got the blackberries are growing. Blueberries was the last part. If you haven't watched the outer garden bed tour, wow, things are growing like crazy. Things are growing like crazy in the raised beds. This is just an exciting year. We're gonna look at the new shade cloth awning. I've been promising that new shade cloth awning for a while. It is wonderful because we took steps with our potatoes that I've never done before. I'm very excited to see how they do. You saw in the part 2 of the video of this month's video tours, I actually showed in the beginning the potatoes all blown over from the hard wind we had on the 10th or 11th, somewhere in there. The rain, that really hard rain, they were all just laying flat over. And then they've popped back up now, and now under the, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, so we're gonna start over here with the GreenStalk, and but first, of course, I've mentioned this frequently, we have this little map of the property. We don't live on a big property, folks. We live on a 1/4 acre. It's 100 feet wide by 106 feet deep. That's, what is it, 30 by 36 meters? It's not huge. And so it's about, the whole property is about 10,000 square feet, and that counts the house and the shed and areas that we can't grow, like, well, the driveway. So we don't have a huge property. I'm trying to maximize everything I can. So you'll see that all over the garden. Anyway, this property here, this little map here will, I've extracted out the raised garden beds in the middle of the backyard, and this will be sitting in the corner of the screen. There's this little red icon. The little circle represents the camera. The little arrow represents the direction it is facing. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we are looking in the garden. I had some comments about a little more specificity in where we are in the garden, so we can kind of get an idea of what we're looking at, where we're looking at it. And so that's what this is all about. If it helps, great. If it doesn't, hey, comment in the comments below if you like the little camera icon in the corner. Give it a thumbs up if you think it's a good idea. If not, let me know in the comments. I love reading your comments. Hey, anything that you see around here, if you've had different experiences, if you have any questions, use the comments below and holler at me. I love seeing your comments, seeing what's going on with your garden. Sometimes, and it's amazing because I do one thing, you've done something completely opposite, and it works just as good for you. That's, to me, is just fascinating. So don't ever be afraid to comment on these videos whenever you have a thought like that, because I love the comparison, and a lot of times it gives me ideas of things to try and things to do differently and try to get things to work better. So anyway, on with the first arch trellis here. Wow, did I get distracted. That is not an arch trellis, that is a GreenStalk. Boy, so again, I'm still rotating this thing every once in a while. This was, what was this last year? Early. Could the cauliflower have reseeded itself? I did not notice that. So cauliflower, broccoli, no, it'd have to be broccoli. Cauliflower, I never let go all the way. I don't know what this is here. Anyway, I would have thought that's weeds. We've got parsley here that has reseeded itself for like the third time probably. So the cauliflower. This was a cauliflower that went to bloom, and these are little seed pods. Now they're wet right now, but inside there's all these little seeds. In fact, you can look through, see the little dots in there? You can see there's little dots right there. Those are the seeds inside that pod. These are kind of old pods, and I've already harvested a bunch of them. I'm not going to worry about anymore because I already have a lifetime supply. We do have strawberries down here that are actually looking pretty good. There's that kale that just hasn't done anything. I rotate this thing, I don't know, a couple of pockets about a third of the way every once in a while, and it just keeps going and going. I don't understand. It's amazing. And I really haven't done much to this. You talk about a garden that grows itself. Well, there it is. Now, along with all the rest of our beds, we are on irrigation. I know we said we get a lot of rain here, or we have this month. January, we got almost no rain. February, we got one small rain, about an inch. March, we got about an inch. April, we got about an inch. So some months we don't get squat. So this is bed number 1. And you can see, of course, we have some zinnias coming out here. I planted a lot of random giant zinnias we got from a neighbor, from Jack and Anna. They were very kind of giving me a big old bag of seeds. I hadn't had any giant zinnias yet, and so, and this is a funny thing because back when we were in the apartment, I was always growing miniature stuff and dwarf stuff, and it's taken me 3 years to realize, hey, I don't have to grow those things anymore. I can go with real things. And so I've been trying to get to bigger and bigger things, specifically with the zinnias. But you know what we're looking at right here? We are looking at cucumbers, and we have these collars on them, which I have had on here since they were seeds. And basically, I will pull these off when they start reaching out for the trellis. Now, is that a flower or is that more leaves? I think it's more leaves. I don't see any tendrils coming out of any of the ones on this side. However, and I'm going to skip over to bed 2 for a moment just to show you this. You'll notice this one right here has a tendril, single tendril. I took off that sleeve, and that sleeve actually was great. It helped protect from the slugs. Now I do put in slug repellent in here so to help with that. In fact, you can see down inside this collar, there's a lot of slug repellent down in there and over here as well. But as soon as these cucumbers start getting, oh, see now, there's a tendril right there. Look at that. First tendril. I'll let it get a little longer, and then we'll start directing it up the arbor. And these over here, I will take those sleeves off just as soon as those things are just about to grab hold. If you wait till after they've grabbed hold, you can't get the sleeve off without cutting it, and I reuse my sleeves. I like my sleeves. So that is the cucumbers in bed number 1. Now back to the irrigation briefly. I want you to notice that I did now I bought a bunch of these little cheap irrigation heads, and I like these. They do very well. I can clean them, and they're not very expensive for a bag of them. But they used to be, this thing was actually stuck right inside the black pipe. I stood it up a little bit more so it would get a little bit more coverage, and that little bit has just really done well. You'll see a whole bunch of them now that's up, I don't know, what's that, 3-4 inches? Not very much. So if you watch along very much, I finally see what I've been looking for. If you watch very much, you know we've got our ginger here. Now our ginger is an understory plant. So you'll notice up above this, we have shade cloth, 50% shade cloth. In fact, we have a lot of shade cloth out here this year. The big difference this year, now last year I went back and researched, we didn't get the shade cloth up last year until July. That was after the summer solstice. And so I was very late with that. And this year I put it up a full 2 months before the summer solstice to make sure I have good coverage. We're going to leave it up for the entire summer. That means 5 months total. We will be leaving the shade cloth up here, and that will help. And now folks, we get some pretty intense sun here. If you have a 17-foot post at the peak of the sun, that post will only cast about a 17-inch shadow. So that's not much of a shadow. The sun is not straight down here, but boy, we are very close to it, and it's an intense sun. So anyway, ginger, and I'm very excited because I literally just now saw. Okay, so there's a ginger growing. There's see, they're starting to go now. Now ginger takes a while to get started, and this is the one right here that I just discovered. I've been looking for one in this area. I wasn't sure where it was. That's 3, 4, 5. It's got a giant zinnia standing in the middle. 6. That one's already got 2. This was the first one that came up. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I thought I only planted 12 of these, but I guess not. I need to go back and look. Now, we got our ginger here. Over in that area, there's nothing new growing. Well, that's the turmeric. And when I've said before, ginger takes a while to come up. I know. Turmeric takes forever, okay? It's just gotta be patient with the turmeric. So now, yes, I just got a whole bunch of buckets from a painting project I was doing some other handyman work on, and the paint truck, they had hundreds of buckets because it was a huge complex they had painted. And so I asked them if I could get a dozen of these buckets. Now, quick word on this. You do not want to leave this standing out for more than 3 days, okay? From when it gets calm. Mosquitoes need 3 to 4 days to lay their eggs, hatch those eggs, go through the larval stage and actually become flying mosquitoes that, like this one that's just, oh, they're here. They are here. In fact, there's one right there. They sense the water. They are laying eggs now. This water cannot be here in 3 days. So I will be dumping this. Anything I don't use, I will be dumping. And I use these in the gardens. And I come out with the watering can. I stick it in there and water seedlings and so forth with them. But do not let this set more than 3 days. So the next thing up is the blackberries. And oh my goodness, these things are just starting to ripen. I've harvested a little bit out of them. This one here doesn't look quite ready. But look how thick they are. Have you ever seen blackberries so thick. This is a thornless variety of some kind, and it is prolific. It has so many blackberries all over this arbor. I can't get over it. That one almost ripe. Now what happened is I harvested a bunch of them, and after I flash froze them, they turned red again. And I don't know, did I harvest them too early? Let me know in the comments if you know more about blackberries than I do. And trust me, if you've ever grown them, you know more about blackberries than I do. But these things, I mean, look how enormous. It's bigger than my thumb. It's as big as the end of my thumb. That is just amazing. All these blackberries, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of blackberries, a lot of them turning black. I'm going to leave those in, probably harvest those tomorrow. But this is the blackberry jungle, and it goes down here. They go just kind of draping from arbor to arbor. They're actually growing through this pear tree, going crazy. And this pear tree is kind of going crazy too. I've never seen anything come out of this, so we're still wondering what to do with our pear tree. So down here at the corner of the end turnaround of the bed number 1, we have our okra. This is the 3rd year we have planted okra here, and we did use some older seed. These first 2 rows were from M.I. Gardner. I forget who the second few rows were from. I cut my finger really bad. I don't remember who these next few rows were from. And then the last 5 rows are my seeds that I saved. Now, I did come in here and I planted nasturtium. Looky here. These are supposed to be trailing nasturtium, so I'm hoping they will take off. There's one there, one there. But okra. Now, let me tell you about okra. This is the 4th year I've grown them. 3rd year I've grown them successfully. 2 years ago was my 17-foot okra. These are Hill Country Red okra, and they are a slow start. They sit here, they're small, they'll grow leaves and kind of here and there and pop up there, and then that'll pop up and so on and so forth. Then suddenly, one day, these things just explode. And I think they're kind of waiting for the real heat to start coming out, but we have a lot of seeds in here. We have a lot of plants. You can see there's a plant there, there's another plant there, 3 more up there. Yeah, there's a lot of Hill Country Red okra in here. Now there's also a lot of other things coming in, like this leaf flower that we work to keep out. And yeah, that's not one of my favorite things. The least favorite of which is, of course, the dollar weed. Now the dollar weed is a very peculiar weed. We can cover it with cardboard, let it set for months, and then once the cardboard decays, the dollar weed will grow up, even though it's been sitting with no sunlight for months. It's just hard to believe. These things, these stems, look how long that stem is. That came up from down below the cardboard level. So that's something that we constantly fight. Mrs. Bowtie helps me weed those dollar weed out. Her thing is the dollar weed. So coming around here to the end of bed number 1, we have the Brussels sprouts, and look how massive this stem is getting. I don't know if it's going to develop anything or not. This is bigger than I've ever seen. Now, the first time I grew these, I planted them in the spring. Now I plant them in the fall. This was planted late fall, early winter, and it's been a little slow taking off. So we'll have to see what happens here. I am impressed with the massiveness of that stem down there, and it's still growing. It's still got new leaves coming up and everything. They don't look terrible. There's a few little holes in them, but nothing terrible. So yeah, and of course we have our lizards. Now these are the dark lizards. These are not supposed to be, these are the ones that are supposed to have been the invasive, but whatever. I like all the lizards. They're awesome. So anyway, you can see here, this is a cauliflower. Not a cauliflower, I keep doing that. This is a broccoli that's gone to seed. And it's wet right now, so I'm not gonna worry. And I actually have a whole bunch cut off. I'm gonna do a video about that here pretty soon, just harvesting those. But, in fact, oh my goodness. I don't know what that is. Probably another broccoli, but it's about to flower and make these little seed pods. And you just basically cut them off, stick them in somewhere where they'll get dried out, and knock all the seeds out of the pods, and you have seeds for next year. Free seeds, folks. Free. So past bed number 1, we have the pear tree. I don't know what to do with yet. If you have an idea on this, let me know. I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do. In bed number 2, of course, the very, very first thing, we have another blackberry yet again. And, of course, another little lizard. But we have our Dino Kale. This is really good. If you've never liked kale, then this is a good kale to try. And I heard that from Jess over at Roots and Refuge. She said those exact words, and when we bought this house, we had a Dino Kale from the previous owner, and I tried it and I was like, oh, well, that's not bad. Now this is a lot taller. It's still good. I mean, these leaves are stiff. You can make chips with them. I like eating them raw. This is a smaller one. These were actually planted at the same time. Don't know why this one's so much smaller, but if you look over here, this Dino Kale is getting ready to bolt, I believe. Notice how the leaves have changed, and it's starting to shoot up these stalks right here. So this one's starting to bolt, and it will change the flavor to not as good. So yeah, more black. I mean, look at these blackberries. Just look at this. This is just mind-blowing. Oh, that one came off real easy. All right, I'm gonna try that one. Little protein in there, maybe. It's fine. Okay. Yeah. Wow. That one was ready. Ooh. Oh my goodness, that was delicious. Yeah, I'll be harvesting more blackberries tomorrow. Okay, so this is one of our little patches of Egyptian walking onions. I know I've explained these things so many times. They grow up, they get these little nodules like this, where they start off all these little bulbules. This thing gets heavier and heavier. It'll fall into the ground. When it touches the ground, that'll create a whole new plant like this. By the end of next year, that one will be, I don't know, about a third of this size. If I leave it for the end of the next year, it'll be this big. That's a lot of onion. That's a household worth of onion for, I don't know, months. That's a lot of it. And this is just one of the plants. We're going to be pulling a lot of it out probably this winter because we simply have too much. So down here on bed number 2, of course, we have our bean wall, and the bean wall is starting to look strong. I'm very happy with the way it's going. I did come back through and plant a lot more seeds, but it's back there doing its thing, and not really worried too much about it, just letting it go. It will do its growth, and you'll notice it is under shade cloth. This is a what is it, 12 by 16 shade cloth, 50%, and it will keep these things looking healthy. I mean, they really look good. And there's a lot more beans down here growing up that are just going crazy. Now, shade cloth. And this is where we come back to look at the addition onto the back of this trellis system. We added this whole thing. In fact, you can see here in this video, I put up the hooks, stainless steel hooks on the piece of wood up there so that we can hang up the whole there are two 20-foot by 6-foot strips of shade cloth. And then I made these posts, and these posts, I just used a piece of 2-foot rebar that a neighbor gave me. I cut some of the bamboo that I had laying around. I tapped this piece of rebar through one little divider down into the next, and it leaves a spike up here. And these spikes are perfect for tying back off here to the fence. Now, I did lay out this arbor that you see here where they're all tied up. I laid that to where it would be in the middle of the 2 panels, and that's where they get tied off on that corner together. And the whole thing, though, is 40 feet long, a 40-foot long shaded area. Is that not amazing? So what was happening before that one strip of shade cloth, the afternoon, the hottest sun was hitting the backside of these. Down there, we'll see tomatoes in a minute. We have these beans, we have the cucumbers here, we have the kale right here. The hottest sun was hitting the backside of all these plants, and it was kind of hard on it, so we now have it a lot easier. These potatoes over here, We had these little ones again that got blown down in the windstorm a week ago today, was it? And look how beautiful they look. You can still see there's a couple that are kind of pushed over, but they have grown back up straight. They're growing tall. These things are over 3 foot tall. And for the very first time in my growing career, I have potatoes blooming. I have never had potatoes bloom, but look at that little flower. Let me get my nasty Band-Aid finger out of the way. Look at that beautiful little yellow and purple flower. Isn't that amazing? Now, as far as oh, look at this guy. He's hidden down in here. Can you see him? He's just sitting there waiting for bugs. This is why I like these lizards so very much, because they will just hide in there, wait for bugs, and when a bug appears that they like, they will eat it. He knows his bugs are there, his meal's right there somewhere. And you can see the little bit of eaten leaves over there in the lower right hand corner of the frame. Well, he's protecting my potatoes. Isn't that awesome? So these potatoes I'm going to let grow till the bottom leaves are actually starting to turn yellow, but till they start dying off significantly, and then we will be harvesting potatoes for the first time in 2 years. We didn't get much last year. A little disappointing. Here on the inside of the raised beds, of course, I have more of those giant zinnias. We already looked at the cucumbers over here. These are, by the way, Suyo long cucumbers. This will be the 4th year I've grown them. I love these cucumbers. They have a little bit thicker skin. I love them for pickling. You pick them small, have nice flavor to them. Oh, they're wonderful. Giant zinnias. I mean, these things are huge. They've kind of got blown over in all that wind. We do have our pepper row. We have some peppadew. Look at this. We've got real peppadew coming out already. This one here is also a peppadew. You can see there. This one here, if you'll notice, the peppers are pointing straight up. These are Thai hot peppers. More Thai hot peppers because they're sticking up like this. If we come down here, I don't know on this one yet. Oh, haha, that's not the pepper. That's something else growing next to it. You can see here, I think this might be a dragon cayenne. The leaves, I don't know, they look kind of like the peppadew. Either peppadew or, nope. Here's the dragon cayenne right here. Notice these peppers are kind of hanging down. These, when they're hanging down in my garden, between Thai hot and dragon cayenne, the dragon cayenne will hang down. This guy here is hanging down, so I know these two right here are dragon cayenne peppers. That's what I grow. That may be another peppadew. I do have several peppadew plants. But yeah, I can't get over these Thai hots. We're going to have Thai hots real soon. Rob and Terry, I might be able to give you a handful of them. She likes to cook with them. Okay, so, this is a jalapeno. This is the next one down here. This is a mammoth jalapeno. Oh, a mammoth jalapeno. Looky there, looky under here. Oh, beautiful. There's several big old jalapenos in there just ready to get stuffed. Mrs. Bowtie is going to be excited. I'll show her this as I'm editing this video. She will be happy. She wants more jalapenos this year, so I'm giving it to her. Pretty sure this is another peppadew. I don't see any peppadew. Oh, yep, sure enough, there's a peppadew pepper right there. And I know this is a peppadew because I can actually see peppers coming out real strong. Peppadew is a nice, mild pepper, has a tiny bit of heat, good entry-level heat pepper, great flavor, great flavor. They serve those in extremely fancy restaurants. It's the one that they will put in a skillet for just a moment to get a little bit of a blister on it and then serve it out, and they are delish. So, pass the beans. Okay, so folks, I talk about these Everglades tomatoes, and I want to show you the base of these Everglades tomatoes first. Look down there. You can see there are several plants growing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At least 6 now. I think at one point I had 8. I might have lost 1 or 2 of them. They are going everywhere. That there's one laying on the ground there. I'll end up cutting that off. But look, it's a huge fan shape taking up this 16-foot cattle panel trellis. Let me go on to the other side. And from out here, you can see that it is that big. Those 4 plants are almost the full length from end to end of that cattle panel. It's got about, I don't know what, 3 feet from that end, maybe about 2 feet from the other end over here, and they will have covered the cattle panel trellis. And they already have tomatoes on them. Let me walk back over here with you, and you can see, oh, they are red. I was waiting for this little rack right here. I'm going to go pick one of those and give one to Mrs. Bowtie. You may have the big one.
Oh, thank you.
Try it.
I'm scared. Oh.
How's it taste?
Delicious.
Doesn't it though?
Yes.
I've already had 2 little ones. We have Everglades tomatoes. So I will continue to tie these things up to that trellis until that arch trellis is full. It's more than we had last year. It's certainly better organized. I did notice it's actually growing into the beans over here. I'm going to try to keep that from happening. That's why I put the second cattle panel over there so we could separate those a little better. Here in the arch trellis, we actually have 3 Supersweet 100 tomatoes. Now, the collars that were here actually blew off. They're kind of sitting over here. They blew off in some of those wind storms. I normally let them stay until they're a little bigger, but I have been keeping the snail repellent around here. It's one of the very, very few things that I put in my garden. It is an OMRI listed organic solution for dealing with snails. I have not had any of these get cut off at the base. Here past bed number 1, we have some aloe here, and I was commenting about the random tomatoes that are growing up everywhere. This right here is a volunteer tomato, and it has flowers on it. I don't know what it is. I think it might be an Everglades, the way it's growing, but it could be a Supersweet 100. If it's a Supersweet 100, there's no telling what it will make. This here is an Everglades. I can tell because it's got those little tiny flowers. It will grow crazy. I might just go ahead and train. It's like right here to the corner of the trellis. I might just let it have a corner if it looks promising. But the aloe, yeah, this giant aloe is amazing. I love it. We'll come in here, clean it. There's actually aloe underneath all this stuff. I keep tripping on it. Coming around here past the aloe patch to bed number 3. And we have peppers. This is the hot pepper bed. Oh, there's some of that leaf flower. Let me just pull that out so you can see what it looks like. It is one of our really rough ones. Let me show you why. Let me go reach down here to the bottom. So if you look underneath every single seed, under every single leaf, there is at least 1 seed and sometimes 2 or 3 seeds. That's why this thing reproduces so prolifically. It's just got all kinds of seeds everywhere underneath there. So I try to keep those pulled out. They grow a lot here, but I'll keep the soil in there and toss them into the aisle because they get mowed up. There's the pile of Biden's Alba I pulled out of that onion patch from the outer garden bed tour. Yep, always weeding, right? So I'm pretty sure this right here is a Fatali pepper. We've got a Tabasco trying to come back here. I do need to cut off some of these stems. I do have another Tabasco popping out. There is a Traveler's, jalapeno Traveler there. Not sure what this one is. I can't remember. I had it figured out in a previous video, but it is starting to grow and grow something good. And there's an ivy. Oh, you got to watch those ivy. They will sneak in there. I broke off at the ground, but put it out here on the mowing path. However, yeah, these things are looking good. It's growing thick. I think this is going to be a Scotch bonnet. Pretty sure. Got another jalapeno right here. Look how massive those jalapenos are looking. Delish. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yum, 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 yum. All right. So over here, I think we have a Peri. Yeah, this is a Peri. I can see there are a few little peppers here. This is our Peri plant. And over there, I don't see the peppers on it yet. I'm pretty sure that's another Scotch bonnet, but I'm not positive. We did lose the habanero. I'm gonna have to start another one of those. We did lose that Fatali. We have another jalapeno right here though. Like I said, Mrs. Bowtie wanted more jalapenos this year. Look at the monsters we have grown. Aren't those amazing? Basically what I'll do is I will leave those on there until the first one turns red, and then I will harvest them all. They'll be ready. And you can eat them anytime, but the reason why I do it that way is they develop more heat as they stay on there longer. So the red ones are going to be hotter than the green ones, but that gives, when we're serving it to people, that gives people an option of really hot ones or not so hot ones. So, okay, now I'm questioning what these are. Yes. Is that possibly a peri? I think it is. Oh, great. I'll treat it like one, but I see another small plant of jalapenos down there. Ha! That's probably a jalapeno traveler. Oh, yes. In fact, I see a tag down there, jalapeno traveler. And you can see more of those little irrigation spouts. That's been doing real good for me. So past the peppers, we have our Brussels sprouts and elephant garlic. Now these Brussels sprouts are heavily chewed on. They are not looking great underneath there. You can see lots of holes. I have been spreading the slug repellent stuff in here. And so I'm just kind of waiting to see what these things will do. However, the big thing here right now is the elephant garlic. And I'm going to just reach down here and try to harvest one of these. And these are not huge, but we are going to be harvesting these. You don't want to knock off all the dirt. I will knock off most of the dirt. No water. It's a rainy day. It's kind of probably, I need to wait till this soil dries out a little bit. But we let these things cure and in a dry place. And then we will be freezing them this year because we lost a lot of good garlic last year. I see some scapes over there. Look at that. It's going to flower. It's a flower scape on these elephant garlic. Yeah, bunch of elephant garlic in here. I also have a whole bunch of radishes growing in here, and we don't really eat much radish, but I wanted to plant some random stuff in here, and there are no radishes developing as far as I can tell yet. These things just kind of go down into nothing. Oh, there's a lot of little is that wood lice down there? I don't know what that is. A lot of little insects down there. I don't know what this is either. I'm gonna have to find out what that is. Send that through my plant identifier. So my PlantNet app on my iPhone says that this is some kind of a smart weed. I don't know. I've noticed it this year coming up. I've not noticed it before. So moving right along past the elephant garlic bed, which is being taken over by the Brussels sprouts, maybe, hopefully, crossing fingers. We come into the final tomato patch at the end of bed number 3, and we have 4 plants here that are Nebraska Wedding. It is one of our favorites. We've had trouble growing it here every year, but it grows up to about, 3 to 5 feet tall, makes these beautiful paste type orange tomatoes that taste amazing. And so we are working on getting these to grow, and we've got now I'm going to show you the shade cloth here. So you'll notice that we have 50% shade cloth, and there's another shade cloth up there, and that's another 50% shade cloth. It's a little bit overlapped. Now when you add 50% shade cloth to 50% shade cloth, it doesn't make it 100% shade cloth. It makes it 75%. You multiply the two together, and so 50% of 50% is 25%. So it lets 25% of the sun through. It becomes a 75% shade cloth in that doubled area. And that is just at the hottest point. I'm experimenting. There are some jelly bean. Yes, 2 jelly bean tomatoes here, and there were 2 others. I broke that one when I planted it. This one didn't look like it had much hope anyway. I do have another tomato here I'm going to be putting in. It will be a German pink from Jim, so I'm calling it Jim. I've got 2 of them. The other one is getting planted up front in the for one of the 2 tier gardens, and that will be Jim Jr. So, last thing. What's the last thing? It is the Goji Berry, and I think it's very cool. The Goji Berry has started to flower, and look at the little cute little purple flowers on this. Purple is one of our colors. It's one of the reasons we keep this, though. Goji berries are very healthy. This thing is starting to flower out, which means it's going to be fruiting here pretty soon, and it will be producing goji berries. They look like a very small pepper. They taste like a tomato. So there we go. That is the raised garden bed tour for May of 2024. I'm standing up under here under the double shade cloth. There are mosquitoes here. I need to start working on those citronella to get them propagated everywhere. This would probably be a good place to put a pot of the citronella, maybe even in the ground. Well, I don't want to put a perennial in these beds because they get topped off several inches, and I don't want, I just want to put them in a pot and be done with them. So anyway, yeah, mosquitoes are out here. I can feel them all over. I can see little tiny baby ones everywhere. Of course, it did just rain this morning, so it's moist out here right now, to say the least. It is very moist. Everything is wet. Like I said, we got, I'm pretty sure we got close to 5 inches this morning. It was nutso. And it started about 3 a.m. and there was a little bit of light thunder and lightning across the bay. And then by 4 a.m., 4:29, boom, I was out of bed. So anyway, yeah, we're looking forward to a good growing season now, and see where everything goes. Thank you for following along today. Thanks for watching the video. For those of you who have subscribed to Bowtie Life on YouTube, you're my heroes. You've helped make Bowtie Life what it is today. We are trying to grow our channel to the next level, and once we get to that level, we will be able to do so much more. We are just kind of finding our way here, so bear with us as we try to make content that's worth your time. If you're just finding Bowtie Life channel for the first time, this is my own personal journal of everything that's going on in the garden. And with my ADD brain, I've tried journaling, I've tried photography, I've tried the little app. My brain just has a hard time sticking with it. These videos speak to me. I will frequently play these videos on the TV while I'm getting ready in the morning, and they keep me interested and keep me going. Occasionally, they even remind me of something I forgot to do, and I'll stop what I'm doing, I'll come out, I'll take care of a 5-minute task, and then I'll head back in. And just, that's kind of how my brain works. And so, be sure to subscribe to Bowtie Life on YouTube so you don't miss a thing happening in the garden, as I know, over-document everything. Remember, it's my own journal. Subscribing does not cost a thing. It's free. Another way you can help grow the channel is to give this video a thumbs up, and let us know if you found it interesting, informational, educational, and be sure to share this on, like Facebook or Pinterest, or you can share it on X, and there's another WhatsApp. You can share it several places. There's a little share button on this video that you can click that, and it'll share right to your social media pages with friends maybe that are looking for inspiration to grow their own food and have their own supply of healthy food. So that marks the end. Happy May, y'all. Have a blessed day.